Welcome to another Auto Spec Renew video. Today we are with Pat on his absolutely amazing Mustang. So we've seen the Mustang at various events like State of Charge and obviously SEMA, where it was just breaking the SEMA show. It was just not only fantastic but a superb drivetrain. So let's do the introduction. Who are you? Why did you build this fantastic Mustang, and where are you taking this?
I'm Pat Daly. I'm one of the co-founders of Inspire EV. Then the whole idea came about. Me and a couple of buddies had one too many margaritas and wanted to do something unique and different.
Well, that you did.
So that's when we decided to put a Tesla motor in a classic car. We didn't have the car at the time.
Okay.
We found the car. It was a $2,500 junkyard special.
Okay. All right.
Started life with an inline six in it. Took us a couple of years to build it. We had some definite stumbling blocks throughout the process. But we got it finished just in time to debut it at SEMA 2022.
All right. So before we even jump in the electric conversion aspect of it, a lot of work needed to be done on the base Mustang. All right.
A lot of work. It started life as an inline six, so you had everything from the brakes, the suspension, the rear end, everything had to be upgraded.
Okay.
Of course, a lot of body work and the paint to get it to be a respectable color.
All right. So let's talk about the drivetrain you opted for.
So we started with a Tesla Model S performance motor, trying to reconfigure it. We really didn't want to use the typical Tesla setup on the rear axle. We really wanted the motor to be in the jewelry box, so you could see what powered this thing. We went through a lot of hoops during that process, and that's when we met Eddie at Revolt Systems. And he had already done all the engineering that we were trying to figure out. And it was a beautiful product right out of the crate. Move a couple of motor mounts and we had a working motor.
So did you know about Revolt when you started the project?
When we started the project, no. No. And there was hardly anybody out there that was documenting doing electric conversions. So we kind of set out to document as much as we could ourselves throughout the process.
All right. So this drive unit delivers quite a bit of punch and loads of torque.
A little bit.
So we'll talk about how you put the power down to the ground, but what did it take to install the Revolt system in the car to start with?
Well, let's take a peek at it.
All right, let's take a peek. So the system is called the CR43 and it is based around Tesla Model S motor.
Yeah, it's a Tesla Model S performance. It still has ludicrous mode, but we wanted it to sit up here so that everybody could see it. Yeah. And so it runs through the Torque Trends gear reduction box straight to a Mark Williams carbon fiber drive shaft. And then we have a 410 geared Ford 9-inch rear end.
So what does the system come with, and what did you have to engineer or find and source elsewhere?
So the Revolt Systems crate motor comes with everything that you need to run the motor. It has the controller from EV Controls. It has a throttle pedal. We literally designed some motor mounts, sent them off to Send Cut Send, and that's really it. Yeah, I mean, it was a couple of days later we were installing a motor.
So you could have tried to reinvent the wheel starting with a Tesla Model S motor or opted for this option, which I anticipate is significantly more expensive, but at the end of the day, I imagine it's a much better option.
At the end of the day, Revolt Systems has already done all the engineering for us, and it's a ready-to-go package. So, yeah, I mean, we could have spun our wheels for another year, but I believe this is one of the very first customer Revolt motors.
Okay. So, power output and torque.
So this is around 600 horsepower and about 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. That's why we had to beef up the rear end, and we went with a carbon fiber drive shaft just to hold up to all that torque.
While we are still under the hood, let's talk about the first part of the battery, capacity and the cooling system.
So the cooling system, we've got Bosch pumps which are hidden under the fenders. We have 16 Tesla modules. There's 4 up here, and then we have another 12 in the trunk, which we did kind of intentionally. One, it's really hard to squeeze all of that into a small car like a first-gen Mustang. But we also wanted to have some of that weight over the rear wheels
to put the traction,
just so we could have a little more traction. So when all's said and done, when we weighed it, we have about 55% over the back wheels and 45 up front.
All right. What option did you use to monitor and manage the battery modules?
So we have an Orion 2 BMS, and that's kind of tucked away in the trunk. We've got a Elcon charger and a standard 1772 charge plug. And we don't have, right now, we don't have the capability of supercharging, but you know, it gets driven around town and taken to car shows and
so the town being
overnight.
Yeah, the town being Denver. So if you wanted to go to any other large town, you would probably fly rather than drive the Mustang anyway. So is it why you don't really need a supercharger?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to take this on a long road trip. If it has to go somewhere long distance, it'll go in a trailer.
All right. Before we check out the back, did you upgrade the braking system in the front, the suspension, according to the weight?
So we have disc brakes all around. We have 4-link suspension in the rear, all coil over on all 4 corners.
All right, let's jump in the back. That's a fantastic piece, and it's hiding the charge port, huh?
That's the gas tank. So, yep, charging.
Nice.
So we've got 12 more modules in the trunk. We have a total of 85 kilowatt hours.
All right. That's a big switch.
It's a big switch. So it was a little bit of overkill, but we wanted to be able to isolate each battery box.
Okay.
Just when the need arises, when you have to get into them, it's much safer to isolate it.
All right. In retrospect, you would still do the same thing if you were to redesign or do another Mustang? You would opt for this option?
Yes. Generation 2 would probably have a little bit different battery boxes. There's so many companies out there now with good solutions for battery boxes. But we worked with what we had at the time.
Yes, yeah. This is funny because 2, 3, 4 years ago, this was the top technology, and the industry has evolved so much. Again, a couple of years make a huge difference. So it makes you wonder where we'll be in a couple of years, what we'll be using as far as systems and the power we'll be able to deliver and the capacity, because more and more people are trying to get over 100 kilowatt hours in their conversion. All right, let's discuss a bit more, again, the drivetrain in the back as far as the suspension, the braking, and the rear axle.
Okay. under there you have a Ford 9-inch. We just recently swapped it out to 410 gearing, which upped the pep just a little bit. The rear end came out of a 1985 F-150.
Okay.
Originally it had 355 gearing, but we needed a little more. So
Still stock looking outside of one extra screen.
yeah, so this car originally, even though it was an inline six, it originally had the pony interior.
Yeah.
We did have to change the upholstery, of course, but we wanted it to stay as stock as possible. Really, the only difference you can see is the iPad here, which has all our EV controls information on it, and then our push button drive, neutral, park.
Nicely integrated.
Reverse.
Yeah. So originally you would have had the shifter.
So originally, yeah, it would have had the automatic shifter right here.
And the nice logo, mixing the Mustang and the Tesla logos. A radio, which is half original and half modern.
That's a retro sound radio that fits in the standard Mustang hole. Our goal when we built this car was to not cut anything up. We had to expand the gas tank area a little bit to hold the battery box, but other than that, it looks like a stock Mustang.
Okay, which means if in 10 years time you would want to bring back a ICE drivetrain, you could easily,
if you wanted to put a gas engine back in there, you could take everything out and put a gasoline engine in it, put a new gas tank in it.
Yeah.
And
not that anyone will do that, but
you'd have to be crazy to do it though.
So the last few bits we need to cover are, well, the steering wheels. It was custom center, and also all the gauges showing all the new drivetrain components. Anything else we need to cover inside?
I don't think so.
All right, Pat, fantastic build. We'll take it for a spin in a second, but before, I would really like to know what it took to start a business and grow the business from starting with a drink with friends to now running a full-on business converting classics. So what does it take, and what would be your best advice to people looking to join the industry?
So we kind of did this on a whim, kind of trying to prove a point that we could do it. And once that was achieved, it was kind of, we didn't really know what would become of it. The two partners that I started the build with, we finished the build, but they were kind of done with it at that point. And so I wasn't quite ready to say goodbye to the car and let go of it. So I started having conversations with e-muscle cars down in Dallas, and they didn't want me to sell the Mustang either. So we worked out a deal where we bought my two partners out, and now I'm partnered with e-muscle cars.
Wow, that's a big news. So will those guys have a branch in Denver? Will you still run your business? Do they work alongside each other, or do they have specialties?
So we kept the Inspire EV name, and we'll still be doing one-off builds, but some of those builds may not fit into the muscle car mode, or so yeah, we're going to keep the Inspire EV name, but we're looking at in the future starting to build some of the e-muscle car builds up here in Arvada.
All right, are you already working on the next project?
The next one is in the works.
Okay, all right, that's all we get for now, but you can be pretty sure we'll come back to check it out. Going back to the build, obviously you opted for ready obviously you opted for an off-the-shelf option. Is there new technology you would like to explore? Is it a drivetrain you will definitely be using on all your muscle cars? Or are you also looking for other package kit and systems?
Well, the Revolt system, when we did this, it's a hot rod. You can't just put a mediocre motor in a hot rod. We wanted the most powerful electric motor that we could get our hands on. And that meant it had to be a Model S motor. And still the Tesla is still kind of ahead of the curve as far as power, but there are lots of other drivetrains out there now that give you a lot more options. But we wanted, we quintupled the power of this vehicle.
When you say it like that, it's mind-blowing. Yeah.
The factory engine, I think it had around 120 horsepower.
Okay.
So just a wee bit more powerful.
All right, so how do you see 2024 and especially 2025 for Inspire EV? Are you growing the business? Are you bringing more staff in? What's the future?
The future, we're looking to open a shop and bring some help in. Good help is really hard to find.
Yes.
But man, a car goes together so much faster with an extra set of hands.
All right, somebody that would want to reach out to you to either work for you or work with you or maybe order a car, where should they reach you?
Easiest way is Instagram. It's inspire.ev. Check us out there. We kind of documented most of the build there. There's some YouTube videos, which is Inspire EV, kind of documenting the build from when we first got the car to including all the mistakes we made. We went through, I think, 4 iterations of battery boxes just to get something that would work properly.
Okay, so that's for online presence, but where can people see your Mustang and your future builds? Are you doing any event? Are we talking SEMA show?
This debuted at SEMA 2022. We won't be taking this car back to SEMA, but if you're in the Colorado area, stop by just about any car show on a Saturday or Sunday and you'll probably run into this Mustang. And this car will be at State of Charge 24. That's July 12th and 13th. And then it'll also be at the Electrify Expo the following day. Everybody says that EVs don't make any noise, but you really hear the road noise a lot more than you do with a gas engine. But the best noise that comes out of an EV is from the person sitting in the passenger seat when they giggle the whole time.
Or scream.
Or scream, or tell you to slow down.
That's awesome.
Smiles for miles.
Yeah. So the good thing about this setup, you can make it a cruiser if you want to drive longer distance, but you can also make it, quite a fun toy. Smoking tires.
If you want to, if you want your batteries to last, you go gentle on the throttle cable.
Yeah.
Or if you have an empty road.
That's crazy. And it does not get old.
It doesn't. It just doesn't. I mean, how can you not smile when your stomach is in your throat?
All right, Pat, thank you very much for introducing us to this fantastic Mustang. Guys, if you like what you saw and you want to see more of those set up, installed and tested, and maybe used and abused. Let us know in the comments below. Give us a thumbs up, and guys, we'll see you in the next one.